Let's take these kids' app icons and make them horror themed, starting with the first one. So first, I'll trace the main shapes of the screen inside the watermelon. I'm not gonna use the original face since I'm creating my own. Once I have that in place, I'll start adding shadows to the outer side of the screen. Then I'll make the shape of the eye with a red glow for the iris. I'll roughen up the edges of the eye a bit because it looks too smooth. Next, I'll add a crack texture over the face and drop the opacity. I'll copy the eye to the other side and start making the main shape of the mouth. Then I'll make the teeth, starting with the upper ones and then the bottom ones. I wanted to change the colors above the watermelon, so I'll make those red and add some more cracks into the face. Finally, I'll add blood and change the ladybug's eyes from white to red because otherwise this poor animal would have become this demon's food, so. But hold up, I'll be impressed if anyone actually knows this icon's name. I'm guessing it'll go over most of your heads, but let me know in the comments if you're an exception. Anyways, that's the name of the icon you're gonna comment, but devilish. We still have eye draw at the end of the video, but next up is hair salon games for kids. For the hair salon icon, I'm starting by tracing the spray bottle, the scissors, and the hairdryer onto separate layers. I actually ended up deleting the straightener because it didn't really fit the horror aesthetic I'm going for. Once I had the lady in the image on her own layer, I started editing the hairspray. I got rid of the original logo and swapped the pink color for a lime green. I'm even adding a danger sticker to the bottle to show there's something poisonous inside. As you probably guessed, she's going to get that hairspray right in her face. I'm adding an eyelid shutdown effect where the spray hits her eye to show her skin is burning. Next, I'll add a texture of water drips and merge it with a burnt skin texture using Blend If. To make the hairdryer look like it's been on way too long, I'm placing a circular burnt texture on top of her head and fixing the edges so it looks more organic. I'll add some loose strands of hair, liquefy the mouth so she looks uncomfortable because I'm pretty sure no one would be smiling after all of this. Then I'll add smoke and blood to the wounds and finish by adding veins to the irritated eye and an orange glow to the hairdryer to sell the heat. Oh, and I added a scissor. And that was the scorched version of the hair salon. Like and subscribe if you don't want to lose your hair to your hairdryer or in general. Next up is Chess World. For Chess World, I'm starting by getting rid of every single chess piece on the board. Once they're gone, I'm replacing them with metal spikes. I'm placing these spikes in the exact same spots where the chess pieces were to keep that cohesive feel when the icons transition. I had the idea to put one of those spikes right through his foot. I'm a nice person in real life, I swear. Anyway, so I'm grabbing an image of a shoe with a hole and masking it out. I'll color correct the hole so it integrates into the shoe and then place the pin right underneath it. Since there was water in the background, I decided to turn the foreground into a beach. I'll add the sand and paint shadows from the spikes onto the ground. Next, I'll add blood to the foot and use the clone stamp tool to get rid of his smile and replace it with a sad expression. I'll add some blood drips running from the shoe and fix the moon to make it look like an actual moon. And to finish it, I'm giving the whole scene a green tint and a camera raw filter, and that was Spike World. Next up is Moi 7. Moi? So first I'll start by tracing the main shapes like the body, the eyes, and the mouth. Once that is done, I'll bring an eye into the scene and give it some internal shadows. Then I'll start shading the body with a soft brush to give it a better 3D look. Next, I'll add some shadows and highlights around the eye so it feels like it's actually integrated into the body. I'll add a shadow under the lip, also to integrate it into the body. And then I'll bring in a background as if he's on the bottom of the ocean. After I give the other eye the same treatment, now it's time for the blood. I'm actually going to draw the blood myself, so I'll start with some drips coming from the eye and then add some tiny eye veins into the iris. I'll overlay a dirt texture on the eye to make it look more dirty and then start shading the blood. I'll add some highlights and shadows to the blood to make it look realistic. Once I'm happy with that, I'll do the same thing to the other eye and add a dirt texture to the body. Next, I'll add even more blood and then start working on the background to separate the guy from the scene. I'll add some haze and a little glow effect around the edges. To finish it up, I'll add a highlight to the lip and some shading between these tiny tentacles on the bottom to make them look more 3D. Finally, I add some blood to the mouth and hit it with a camera raw filter, so that was the horror version of the Moi 7 icon. Now for a baby puppet. I'm starting with an arm and a hand holding a ball, but I'm getting rid of the ball and replacing it with a human liver. I've used a heart in one of my last videos, so I wanted to switch it up with a different organ this time to keep things fresh. I can't believe I just said that, Jesus. I'll start by shading the liver and then add contact shadows to the hand so it looked like he's actually holding it. To tell a bit of a story, I'm adding scratches to the hand to show we had to fight to get this liver, and then I'll overlay a heavy dirt and grime texture across the whole arm. I'll remove some of the original highlights on the liver and swap the background for a dark, saturated red version of the original scene. Next, I had the idea to take a literal bite out of the liver. No, not me, like the design. I'll mask out a jagged chunk from the side and start adding blood and stringy saliva to the bite mark to make it look like he just took the bite. I'll add more blood spatters to the hand and the wrist to show the messiness, and that was the horror version of Baby Pop It. Next up is eye draw. For the final icon, I'm bringing in a single finger and a hand holding a knife as if he's drawing, since it's literally a drawing app. I'm tracing the original rainbow shapes from the app, but instead of colors, I'm making it look like he is smearing blood across on the canvas. I'm adding 4 deep, raw cuts into the finger to make the 4 rainbow lines and using the clone stamp tool to fix the arm. Next, I'll add a raw flash texture inside the cuts and adding shading to them. I'll add shadows under the blood and the finger to ground them to the surface so they don't look like they're floating. To finish, I'll add blood to the finger, the knife, and the hand to tie the whole narrative together. And that was the blood drawing version of the app. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, you might like this one too.